6 years. We were two high schools combined to one because of population. One of the things I'm most proud of is the culture we have made and the very family feel we have done. I like to say that our program is well known throughout the community as one with hard work, integrity, and family. And at the end of the day, I'm okay with that. So I'd like to go ahead and get started. Our title today is Tradition Never Graduates. If we count all the years of experience in this room, it would be staggering. We all know what works well and things that we can always get better. One thing I do like to think of is this: the only time you're coasting is when you're going downhill. So it's always an effort to always get better. All right, a few thank yous I'd like to do first, please. Obviously, to Niska. Thank you for being a leader throughout the country for all coaches. Championship coaches, all the way down to novices. You know, all about education, recognizing coaches, and our athletes. To MISCA, the Michigan Swim Coaches Association. I'll talk about them later on in some slides, but I really can't be any more proud of that group than I am. It's another thing we do in the Mitten State. We make it a point about education, camaraderie, and I think that's something we do very well. And also honoring our athletes and our coaches. Next, my athletic directors and athletic coordinator. For all of us that have been doing this for a long time, we've all gone through quite a few athletic directors. And one thing I will say about this in Royal Oak, I've never had a conversation about wins and losses. I've always had conversations about what's right for kids and doing the right thing. So I wanted to thank them. Kevin Ryan, his name is up there because that was my high school coach. And that is someone that I aspire to be because he changed my life. He made me fall in love with swimming. So I just hope I could do a little bit of that. Next, Bob Schurig. I was a young, dumb 18-year-old kid when I got to go ahead and be his assistant on the girls' side. Learned all of my meticulous record keeping, how to do a dual meet lineup, and the strategy that goes with that. So thank you, Bob. Rich Hansen, who was my longtime assistant for 30 years. You know, it's that perfect couple. Finish each other's sentences. We know when the kids are doing 25s, someone's breathing inside the flags, they're getting hammered down there. They come on your end, I'm hammering them too. So it was people I wanted to go ahead and mention. All my assistant coaches throughout the years, it's always important to surround yourself with people smarter than yourself. So I wanted to thank them. I can't do what I do, and we can't do what we do in Royal Oak without them. Next, the meet workers. I am pretty, and I'm sure like everybody else in this room and anyone that may be watching this, I am pretty hyper-focused on my athletes in the meet, and all the other stuff, I'm not really worried about the table until I want to know the score going the last relay. So all those people that take care of that side, thank you so much. The team parents, I make it pretty clear right off the bat. Everything that's chlorine related, I want to be in charge of. Everything that's not, I do not want to be in charge of. So thank you for them for taking care of our coaches and athletes and opponents. Let me see, to all the athletes, past and present, this is why we do it. This is why we leave our families for months at a end, why we get up stupid early in the morning and come home late and miss meals. All right, so to all my athletes that have worked hard for me, thank you. And to my family, we all know this comes at a cost. The people you love the most, you don't get to see a lot during season. So I wanted to thank them for indulging me in one of my passions. All right, a little bit about myself. As I said, this is my 36th year of high school coaching. This is my 49th season, 34 with the boys and 15 with girls. Very proud to be president of the Michigan Scholastic Swim Coaches Association. And I know there's some people in the back and in front here. They're dynamic, and I can't be any prouder. There are no egos in that room. All it is helping athletes and coaches. President of the Michigan High School Coaches Association. I enjoy that as well because it's really a lot of leadership. It's about education and recognizing, and I'm very happy we've been able to recognize quite a few coaches and get them into our Hall of Fame. Proud supporter at NISCA. I'm the person that sends in all those awards. I'm the person that's bothered Marnie many times over the years because I've done something wrong and asked her to change it at the last minute. So thank you. 15-time Coach of the Year. Very nice. It's always nice to be voted on, especially something from your peers. Our team has won 9 championships in 4 different decades. Very proud of that. Proud enough to go in the Hall of Fame in 2019. Elementary teachers, I will joke that I tie shoes for a living, but I love what I do. Husband and father, I'm very honored to be here. A little history about Royal Oak, Michigan. So I'm going to read a little bit, because for the people in the back. Our population into the 2020 census was a little over 58,000. We are 3 miles north of the Detroit city limits, where 8 Mile is where you might have heard the song or seen the movie. 8 Mile, then we're just a few miles north of that. We're part of Oakland County, but we've had tremendous population shifts throughout the years. Ugh. There we go. Try it again.
It's always a little bit there.
All right, at our peak, we had 2 high schools in Royal Oak with over 2,000 students in each school, 4 junior highs and 14 elementaries. As of today, we have 1 high school with 1,300 students, 1 middle school, and 6 elementary schools. Our population in Royal Oak has changed dramatically from a lot of kids to very few kids. A lot of people keep their homes in Royal Oak, so there's not a lot of turnover, and we've seen populations move north. A little bit of swimming history. All right, so Royal Oak, the first time there was a Royal Oak High School, and then they built a second high school in 57, Royal Oak Kimball, and we have a Royal Oak Don Darrow. We had quite a few All-Americans early on, 2 honorable mentions, and I enjoyed this fact put in there. We were the national record holders in the 150 medley relay in 1953. You're going to see when we had the 2 high schools from 57 to 2006, Don Darrow and Kimball both had All-Americans, and from 2006 to today, we've had 1 All-American. At one time, Royal Oak was host to 2 swim clubs, 1 Y and 1 USS, and I also coach a club at Royal Oak Penguins. And there is currently no swim club in Royal Oak. My beliefs as a coach, my core values, all right? Never let anybody outwork you. People can't see what's inside your head, but they can definitely see your ethic and your work ethic. Be organized. I am type A, capital A. All right, practices, meets, taper meet, everything else. Kids can spot a fake. As I said, I teach elementary. It doesn't matter if they're 6 or 16. Kids can spot a phony a mile away. All right, if you're genuine, you're going to do fine. Make the plan, swim the plan. It doesn't matter. If X happens, that's fine. Let's go. That's why I always say to kids, if there's a hiccup, if there's a snow day, the pool is down, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of it. It's all part of the master plan. We'll be fine. As I said, you need to work as hard or as harder as the kids in the water, and they need to see it. I know people in this room, I'm not sitting during practice. I am constantly up and down. I'm yelling out times, being active. All right? That's what kids need to see. If you're not fired up and motivated in training, why would they be? And I'm a big stickler of this. Dress like a professional. All right, I'm not going to a concert after this. All right, dress like a professional. Make sure your staff is dressed like a professional. This is my job. Communication is key. All right, my goal is to never get questions from my parents or athletic director. I always want to keep them in the loop, and I will go ahead and hit them over and over with that information. Keep everyone up to date, athletes, parents, administration. I'm going to blanket them with information all the time, redundant, over and over and over. Not everybody, one thing I've learned, not everybody checks their email. Every time your phone buzzes, people check that. So I'm a big fan of Remind, and I'll talk about that in a moment. My speech to the team on the very first day. I learned this from my district for teaching. The very first day of practice, I sit them all down before we even get in the water. And I let them know things. I let them know that I don't care who your parents are. I don't care what your zip code is. I don't care if you pray. I don't care who you pray to. I don't care who you love. I'm going to treat you all the same. We will work hard every day. You're going to respect everybody. If you can't do that, then you're in the wrong place. So I've been doing that every year. I'm very happy with the results. The team. Get to know your athletes. One thing that we find is kids can do a million other things. We all know this. This is hard. This is really hard. And so many of our athletes are, I want to get this done right away. How did I not make my state meet my first year of ever swimming? Well, so you need to make sure they have an anchor, all right? And you're that anchor. You're the hook that gets them here, all right? I like to think that sometimes kids are just swimming because they like the coach. It's the same way in your program. If you have a connection with that kid, then they're going to keep coming back. Sometimes you might be the only bright spot in that child's life all day. All right, one-to-one meetings at the start of the season. This is a benefit that came out of COVID. When we were able to train in Michigan in our shortened season, I made a point where I just got a kid out of the water, which they loved, for like 10 to 15 minutes. And I didn't talk swimming at all. All I did is I asked them about them. I asked them about them, how their family was doing, because especially during that COVID time, so many kids were not broken, they were bent. All right, so they're like mom and dad were not working, and it's tough at home, and it's so much fighting. We're in therapy, so that kind of stuff was tremendous, and it's something I continue to this day, and I really, really think that's important to know your athlete. Quote, obviously we've all seen it before. They don't care how much you know until they know that you care about them. I'm a big believer in treating my kid that goes 47 just like my kid that goes 107. Just like all of us in this room and people watching, you have expectations. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. If you can't do that, then maybe you shouldn't be here. And I still believe to this day, kids like discipline and rules. It's that box that they live in and they feel safe. And they know when you treat that 47 kid just like you treat the slowest kid, you get the respect. One thing I'm a big fan of, especially after my daughters were older. I'm not going to say when my daughters were younger and I was coaching their youth sports, I wasn't great at this. But I try to see them. I try to go find, if they're doing the play at school, if they are on the soccer team, or if they're running cross country in the fall, I try to go see them. It's a big deal. They love that. That way you think they know that you just think of them not just as a swimmer. The family feel of the team. That's one of my favorite things I could think of that we have, and I'm proud of with the decades at Royal Oak. It's a team feel, dysfunctional at times like some families, but yes, I love the team feel, and that's my proudest accomplishment. Setting the culture, it's you. You have to walk the walk, talk the talk. I don't swear on deck, they don't swear on deck. It's just that simple. I work hard, you work hard. I'm here a half an hour early, you're here a half an hour early. And last one, being a gardener. And I forget the coach that was speaking at the Miska Clinic a few years ago, but he gave a great analogy. You got to be a gardener with your team. And sometimes you got to clip the weeds. All right? It's tough. Sometimes you give kids chances, but we all know sometimes if you don't take care of those weeds, they're all going to take over your garden. So be a gardener. Communication, I talked about that. It's communication and exposure. It is my belief the local media should talk, write about, or tweet, or do whatever about swimming every week. And if you're going to do that about swimming every week, why not talk about Royal Oak? So I'm going to make my program stand out. I'm going to let the community know that you have a swim team here that does pretty well. We have set high standards and we help make them. All right. Weekly emails all the time to all my staff, athletic administration, parents, and the table workers. Remind, these are things I'm going to show you examples of. I love that Remind app because you can go ahead and you can schedule it for forward. So when I have a meet, I'm scheduling it like before the season starts because I told you already I'm type A. So I go ahead and schedule like, hey, we have a meet in North Farmington. Here's the address. Kids need to be here at 4 o'clock for bus. I don't have anybody that's ever told me, I wish I got less information from you, Coach. All right. Twitter, I send that out all the time. All right. I'm no Eve Julian, but I try. All right. So I send things out. It's all about communication. The thing I love about emails, Twitter, and Remind, because all of us are busy. We're not inventing more hours of the day. But when I have a couple of free minutes here and there, I can go ahead and start making my drafts. The minute I send out my draft, send out my email on Saturday mornings to all my people, I'm working on the draft for the next week. The same with Twitter and Remind. You can make the draft and save it, and you can add to it during the week if you need. Every Saturday after training, my athletic director knows when I get home because his phone just blows up. And so I'm saying out all my stuff, and I'll show you examples in a moment. I do a man of the week, and man of the meet. All right, I will talk about this a little bit later, and we talked about this morning. Sports media in our area is hard to get. You know, we're not a Friday night sport, so you have to be your biggest promoter. Because all the kids getting their names in the paper, that just doesn't happen anymore. Not in our neck of the woods. I make sure my AD and athletic coordinator get a copy of everything I do. They don't like surprises, and it's not my goal to ever surprise them, so they will always be in the loop. The athletic director, I will put the principal, I'll put the school district, and the high school on every tweet. I'll tag them so they all know. So that way that principal could see my server in the hallway and go, hey, I see you qualify for state meet. That's great. That's good. So that way they get those connections in the hallway. Upload results to Swim Cloud. Get them out there. Kids love seeing their times. All right. It's my goal, as I said. It's my goal to not have questions come to me during the week. And also, I've never had anyone tell me, please send me less info. I'm going to give some examples here. I know that's very hard to see in the back. But how I send out my emails, the weekly ones, talk about the meet this week, then talk about next week, and then the following week. You know, you can tell I canceled exams in the morning, AM workouts because we had exams. But I will do this all over and over. Next week, following week, no surprises. Because how many times people in this room, you send stuff out to parents, and they're like, oh, I don't remember seeing that. Well, you saw it. But if we just keep blanking it over and over, we got a puncher's chance. Remind, I talked about this. I love Remind, sending it out there. What I've done is I send out a swim team account, parent account, then alumni. Once kids graduate, I just throw them in the alumni pile. You know, and I send things out to my alumni regularly, like after championships, getting ready for alumni swim meet I'll talk about a little later. Also, with Remind is the electronic documentation that people have seen it, because it will tell you who has opened it and who has looked at it. You can put 150 people per group. Let me see here. We talked about the preloading of the messages. Team Twitter account. I will blast this all out so the community sees it. Exposure. As I talked about the decline of local sports coverage. Great way to keep the community and alumni connected to your program. Athletes and parents love to see hard work recognized, and parents love to see their kids' name in print. Make your program stand out. Why be average? We're not putting this plan to be average. All right, follow and tag your school district, your state association, and NISCO. And thank you to Eve Julian, who pushes out everything I put out. I do man of the meet, man of the week. Does it take a little extra time? It does, but I think they're worth it. So I go ahead, I make sure everybody gets something during the season. Maybe it's the elementary teacher in me. I make someone get something during the season, be it a man of the meet, man of the week. You know, just go ahead, send that out, and they love that. And I also will send that out via Twitter and also do a remind. And that way they get recognized in the hallway. Maybe the kid in third hour says, hey, I saw the tweet by your coach. Great job on your 100 free. So now maybe more kids. They're seeing swimming repeatedly during the winter. So maybe, hey, maybe next year I'll swim. Special occasions. We have a cancer night where we swim against Rochester Stony Creek. Something special for senior night. Our Toys for Tots drive and our home meets in December. We don't charge admission. A new toy for Toys for Tots. We'll go ahead and do that. They'll cover your admission. And also like a hyped tweet getting ready for championships. Also sends things out to the alumni. You know, the kids that are going ahead and assuming their conference championship meets. And just like one of our alumni that coaches college over in the state of Washington, you know, we'll shout out to them. So again, people can see exposure for your program. Senior night. I've seen a lot of senior nights, some great, some not so great. My personal belief is this: I see a lot of people that do stuff, like the parents come down and stuff, and that's wonderful. I've seen a lot of classy things done. I don't do that. I make it all the athletes. The parents can stay over there and get pictures at the end, but I want all eyes on my boys. It's their moment in the sun. I'm keeping it classy, all about the athlete. I send a questionnaire out. It's a great thing I'm an elementary teacher because that way I can read that handwriting. Woof. Advice to underclassmen, what they'll miss the most, past awards, and their plans after graduation. We'll send out a senior spotlight, as you see how I do here. I get their advice, yada yada. I go ahead and get their senior picture. I get a picture like for their senior banner they get. If they do another thing at Royal Oak, be it a sport, or band, or whatever, I'll put that picture and then a little kid picture as well. I enjoy doing that. They enjoy being seen like that. Also, we have the regular locker room like all you have, and we have a special team room. I never go in the team room. Senior night's the only time I go in the team room. The team room belongs to them, the office belongs to me, and the deck belongs to us. So the only time I go in the team room is that special day. Team rules. All right, I go ahead, make a copy of them, get signed. I have a copy. My administration has a copy. It's pretty straightforward. We all have team rules. What you need to do to get your letter or what have you. Posted on the web page. I go line by line with parents. Then we do with athletes. I try to only affect one day of training. So I go ahead and have my time trials and parent meeting the same day. So it's not interfering with multiple days of training. Team web page. Again, this is where I refer people. I put the information up there for a reason, so people can go ahead and see it. I'm not the biggest tech person on the planet, but I'm able to get through this okay. Weebly, this is where we host it, and it does pretty well for us. We have multiple tabs. We have our top 10 club, our rules, our letter requirements, the training calendar, a way where people can contact us. And that's worked well over the years. If people don't want to go ahead and find my email or email the athletic director because they're interested in swimming, they just go to our webpage and I get that email. So it's been helpful. Our all-time dual meet lineup, and I will do a shout out when we had the pandemic. I think I really enjoyed, I know a lot of people, especially in my neck of the woods in Michigan, love making that all-time dual meet lineup, so thank you to that. So we have that there as well. Team records, meet schedule, qualifying times, past award winners, college kids, a track of all of Royal Oak All-Americans. Our webpage, if you notice, I make sure I put our NISCA awards on there as well. Championships, our team, academic all-state, and also links to our college kids so you can see how they're doing. Got our college kids, animal ball, we'll talk about that. Out of respect for water polo, we will not call it polo, but we play, so we just call it animal ball. Thank you for that. We do a tournament. I sacrifice a whole practice day for this. We'll talk about it a little bit later. That's one of the traditions we do, and the kids love this. Qualifying times, that way they know, that way mom and dad know. Our all-time dual meet lineup, past award winners. It's nice to have the history. And our All-Americans. Parent meeting agenda. As I said, that type A thing is real. So I go ahead bit by bit by bit. I don't want any questions. I have my contact information, what they need to do. And I always like this part, helping versus coaching. Parents helping versus coaching. And just reminding them, hey, we all had, many of us here have children. Some of our children swam as well. And there's a big difference between helping and coaching. And I just help them get to that realization with the differences. One of my favorite things, I have a binder for my captain's parents. Again, it's my goal to give the information out and let people do their jobs. So this gets passed down every year. It has my philosophy and how I want things done. Be it senior night, parent night, our banquet, the concession stand, all that other stuff. I don't want it all glitz and glamour. I want it classy and very Royal Oak. So that way everybody knows it's the captain's parents, how I want things. It answers questions before they even arise. Team info and rules, how to set up our dual meet program so they can be there when they go ahead and pay their admission. Food, concessions, we do Chuck-a-Duck as a fundraiser for every meet, be it dual meet or a championship meet that we host. Little rubber duckies, they throw a duck, for $1 a duck. People, I have a junior that gets in the water with a hula hoop. Whoever puts it in, it's a 50-50 thing. So it's fun. It's a few dollars for swim team. The pink out meet, parent night, senior night, pancake breakfast, pasta dinner, how we run championship meets and the workers that we need, the team banquet. And here's a word of advice. If you're going to do this, you always ask for it back. I know I had a parent one year that was being a kind soul, and they gave it to a parent because, oh, your child will probably be captain next year. They were not a captain next year. And I'd ask for that binder back. So learn from my awkward situation. Team fundraising. This is the first time we did it this way. We've all done things where it's go ahead, like you sell something like coupons for local community stores or what have you. And I despise the idea of kids going door to door. So we tried to do an online thing. We did swim-a-thon, and I'm not going to lie, we've had some situations in our neck of the woods in Oakland County where ideally I don't want any money coming towards me. So we did an online platform for the first time 2 years ago. We'll do it again this season. I'm going to do it every other year. So it's super easy. Where I was basically in a meeting for 30 minutes, knowing how to run this. I sent this out to parents, and they did all this. For those in the back, I will read. We made 6,200 in emails, in texting donations, $285, 1,800 on social media, like sharing it via Twitter or Facebook. Other 855. So we made 9,350. Out of that, we got to keep 7,400. Yes, they took 20%. Was that a little steep? Yes, but I paid for that ease of me not touching the money and me having to do anything about it, like wasting a day counting cans or what have you. So I love it. I love where the check went right to my account at the high school, and money didn't come to me. So it was pretty easy. I thought it was worthwhile. And again, we're not going to burn out our community. We'll do it every other year. How we pick captains. I do it a little bit different than other people because I got burned one year. Early in my career, we did the thing that so many people do. We announced the captains at the banquet, and that was fine. But that person, I had a terrible time. That person did a lot of poor decision making from now being announced being captain to the start of the season. They did so many poor decisions that I had to take that captaincy away from them. And once I said to myself, I'm never going to do it that way again, we didn't. So what I do is this. If you're a senior or junior and you're at least your second year on the squad, you're allowed and you're eligible to become a captain. I make captains speak and give a speech in front of their peers. All right? If you can't speak in front of your peers now, I can't rely on you in the locker room or in the back of the bus to take care of business. I make every one of my athletes take an NFHS captain's course. They have to do that before they're even allowed to speak. They know they cannot do this. They can't speak unless this, and this does not guarantee them anything. This guarantees a chance to let them have a speech. And also it weeds out the people, because this takes like an hour to do. So it weeds out the people that really don't want the job, that we are not, their heart set on having the job. So returning team members vote. I don't let first year kids vote. They don't know who the kids are yet. The other people have gone through training for a year and know how these people operate. So that's how I do it. I know the negative side, well, what about the captain's parents? They can't do all that stuff before a season. It gets done. The cream rises to the top. Someone will take care of it. Year-end stat pack. Again, I love putting information on this. This is last year's stat pack because our banquet's this week. So I have all my award winners on there, all league, state qualifiers, all state, academic all-state, academic all-American, our NISCA Silver Award for GPA. I put a ton of stuff in there and give it to all athletes. After the banquet, I will send a PDF to alumni and to parents, and that way they can send it to someone else in the country. We see athletic director and athletic coordinator. I truly am shocked by how many athletic directors have no idea about the history of their programs. So if their coach left tomorrow, they have no idea of, well, the records are on the wall, the top 10 clubs and how we do things. So I think it's good stuff for them to have. I try to incorporate the T-shirt art that we used that year for the top, that way I can remember who went with what year. Again, a lot of stuff that you'll see on my webpage, the top 10 club, the dual meet, all that good stuff. An improvement report from the taper meet, that way they can see everyone's improvement because we crush it at the taper meet. The top time report, top relays, swim golf, I'll get to that in a moment, our coveted animal ball world championships. I also do, I talked about, and I send out those man the meet, man of the week things via Twitter. I just copy those down so the kids can have that. It's something they can hold on to. And also, when you're all done, send it to NISCA for their archives. Workouts. We're going to talk about some of our signature workouts that I hang my hat on. A lie in the sand, sprint package, what we do at state, what we do on Saturdays. There's swim golf. I'm going to thank the NISCA Journal and Jason Polano, I believe out of Texas. And he was super, is he from Texas?
Yes.
Thank you. He was awesome. When I saw that in the journal, I was like, oh yeah, we're going to do that. And contacted him, hunted him down. He was very kind in sharing. What we do for some of the holiday training, I'm that blind kid. When I trained, I am blind. I can't see diddly squat. So writing things on a board was never my favorite thing. I make papers. I put them down in every lane. And that way when we differentiate, when we have the sprinters doing something, we got stroke doing something, everybody can see everybody's working hard and taking care of business. All right. What I do during taper time is something a little different, but I really like what I do. Obviously, we have our training lanes, but when we get ready to start getting ready for the big meet, we're bringing it down and tapering. I mix things up because I want veterans with newbies. Because there's times I want quick, there's times I want smooth. And so I go ahead and split things up so that way you have the veterans in there saying, yes, you're going to feel heavy right now. That's okay. It's part of the plan. And that's worked out well for us. I've every practice saved since '87. I'm always happy to share with others because I'm going to shout out to my friends in Michigan. We got a textbook. We have a text group, and we back and forth ideas. We might say, hey, I'm having a writer's block. Who's got a great sprint set? And within 2 minutes, you got 6 guys that go ahead and just send something back. So sharing with friends is a big deal. With MISCA, we did a workout exchange clinic. I believe we talked about this possibly yesterday. Ask your association to start one. I know we've talked about workout Wednesdays here for NISCA, but it was how powerful is that? You know, we have some legendary coaches in the room and also within our state. And all of a sudden you got a week's worth of workouts from Denny Hill from Pioneer. You're like, yeah, that's good stuff. So in the off season, the reason why I save this stuff is not to create more clutter in my life, but to go ahead and look over the training, say what went well, what didn't go well at championships at the Shape Taper meet. So that's been a benefit for me because you can always learn and get better. One of our signature sets is line in the sand. It's a challenge set. Basically 2 hard swims, one off the block, one off the push, and then a recovery swim. We will do this 3 to 4 times a month, all right, at different times during the week. It is just get up and go. Let's be fast. It's going to hurt a little bit. And every week I get a little bit faster on the intervals for not the recoveries, but for the fast swims. That way kids can see themselves like, hey, I blew up here, but now I'm killing it over here. So lie in the sand, we do that. Sprint package. I was so happy to hear Sam Free's book talk about over there. This totally changed everything for me back, boy, I want to say 1999, 2000. We will do this just about every week. I do hammer down 50s. Our that day sprint package will have hammer 50s, hammer 100s, chords, and muscle memory. And with the hammers, basically, you're from a push. If your best time, let's say, is a 24, you're going sub 24 from the wall with a push with fins. It's just getting up, being fast. We will blare AC/DC, and we'll just take the work. Because you know what's being fun? Being fast, that's always fun. And the boys responded extremely well for that. And also, I split up groups 2 different ways. I chunk them by times, or I chunk them by, I count them out where I'll have some veterans with new kids. That way they learn how we do things and what the expectation is. Saturday stations. We're always going to do muscle memory. Always. We're going to teach them what they need to do. We're going to do chords and breakouts. We're going to work on some perfect swimming or drills. On Saturdays, and I'm really a big fan of this, we'll play animal ball every Saturday. I'll give up 20 minutes and let them do that. Because in our situation, we have 0 club kids. All right? And swimming's hard. We all know this. All right? If they have a chance to play esports and not get up in the morning and not be sleep deprived and not hurt all the time, they might go to esports. So you got my personal opinion, you have to inject some fun into it to keep those non-swimmers interested. So that's what I do. And I truly believe half of my team only swims because of the caloric intake they can take in during the season. They will go out to eat Friday night after practice, and then they'll go out again on Saturday mornings after training. Swim golf, we talked about Jason. I love this. We'll do this 1 or 2 times a season. I make 4 flights. And we'll have a freshman champion, sophomore, and junior, senior. For those that are not familiar with swim golf, you have their best 50 time. I'll say a freestyle right now. And then it gets multiplied by 1.05, and that is your par time. So what will happen, I'm looking at Aiden Dowdell. He is a 24 when we calculate his par time. So that 23 in hole number 1, that gave him a -1. So that works well. It doesn't matter if it was a 23.0 or 23.99. A 23 is a 23. Jason was kind enough to share the Excel sheet to make this super easy for maintenance and for management. I just added the type A. I color code what class they are, what year in school, because that way it's going to help me identify the winner of the senior group or junior group faster. I have played with this a little bit. We'll do it maybe twice a year. Now that way we truly have a champion. We'll do 18 holes. The first 9 will be freestyle. The first time we do it, the second time, I'm going to give them their stroke. So that way we have a true front 9, back 9. And I even toyed with the idea of getting them like an ugly, ugly, ugly jacket from Salvation Army, like the Masters, and let them have that for a year. I did play with it this year, and I had them go with fins off the side of the deck, and I was really excited with that. Their hips popped, got up and go. They were excited about their times, so I enjoyed that. That was a new variation I put in this year. This is I learned from Kevin Thornton a long time ago, man I coached Royal Oak Penguins with. The Super 500, pretty simple, just a neat little thing. The formula is 1-3-2-2-3 for your 500. Then you can plug in any interval you want, and obviously you can go ahead and change via the Super 1000 a 2 or a 3. So 1-3-2-2-3, that was a lot of fun to do. The kids will see this sometimes during the season. How they train. I know there's been a lot of talk of the 100-100s, especially this last year. I do it a little bit differently. Use it as a challenge set as well. You're going to see that you can choose your path and how you want to do the 100-100s. I'm looking at the blue right now. The intervals change throughout the set. Straight 100-100s. No breaks, no excuses. All of a sudden, you have a cramp. Your goggles don't work. You're out of the running for that. Because if you make it through that, all of us have coached for a long time. I'm sure all of our equipment cabinets have a lot of T-shirts dating back quite a few years. So if you get through the blue here, where you do the 100-100s, no excuses, all out, make every interval, you get to go to the cabinet, get an old T-shirt, and they love that, or an old quarter zip. They love that to death. All right. Option 2, if you don't feel like going after this, we have another way to get to that path of 100-100s as well. But they do love the challenge and giving some old Royal Oak swag. The banners work out. This is my little creativity side. So we honor past champions. And it's around alumni meet, we will do this workout. So all the different championships we won, and then I just be creative. Like an example I said for the 96 girls, we'll maybe do 19 of something, 9 of something, 6 of something. We just call it the banners, and we just ask them if they're going to leave their mark, if they're working hard enough for us to get another one. Christmas tree of pain. You know, I did my best art skill, making a tree, so they just go down the way they want. They're picking their own poison, if you will. We do general warmth as a team. That's the start. Then they just get to choose how they're going down. 3 levels. At the end, we'll all get back together for a hard 100 off the block before we do general warm down. But that's something they say. I'm going to use the words look forward to every year, but it's something that happens every year. The come to the Animal Ball World Championships. So as I said, we'll devote one practice to this. We have an 8-lane pool. I'll put a lane line right down the middle, right on the outside. So now I have two areas to play, if you will. So the captains make 4 equal teams. They do a pretty good job of this. And they announce it about 2 weeks before we do this. And the kids get excited. They sometimes make their own T-shirts with that. You know, the team, they can name their team after the senior on the team, or on that particular polo team, or whatever, Ninja Turtles, whatever they do, whatever high school boys do. And so we could do that. They love that tremendously. We play 3 round-robin games. Basically, we have 2 6-minute halves and a 1-minute halftime. We don't change after a goal. You do that. Then we play our 3 games for round-robin. I seed it as playoffs, 1v4, 2v3. So then we have our playoffs. In the playoffs, you can't have a tie. We have shootouts, which is a great time. They all love that. I put that on the webpage all the way back to 2007. You'll see all of our Animal Ball archives. And then I would put the results in the stat pack. And this is something they love. And I do believe we need to infuse some fun from time to time. Recognizing success. All right, I am the last person on the planet that's about everybody gets a trophy. All right, everyone special and gets a blue ribbon. All right, but I do believe you need to go ahead and identify success and make a note of that. That way, success breeds success and sets expectations of what you want from your kids. All right, it's also great exposure for your athletes, and also when all these parents see something, Roy, look at academic again. Wow, that's awesome. Those make me some good kids. Set the standard. Make your program stand out. All right? Give your athletes fuel. Get them motivated. They may not get their name on the record board. All right? They may not get their name in the top 10 list, but they can help get that number on the banner for our academic awards. All right? Post it. Post it the pool, the year-end packet, the webpage. All right? Obviously, records, top 10 club. We talked about this stuff. You'll see record holder T-shirts that we made up. Senior of the meet. Local media, NISCO awards, the team room, and even if you're new, all right, and even if you're going into a situation where there was poor record keeping before you got there, start now. Start now. When someone from the class of 2010 says, hey, I was that kid, I was faster than that, awesome, thank you for that data, I'll put you in there. But don't wait, because if you know now what you have, put it together, because not everyone's going to be as organized as you, all right? Put together what you have and celebrate those kids. We talked about record holder T-shirts. You know, they walk through the hallway with that. It's pretty simple stuff, and they love it. Something to motivate my next record breaker. So I got this idea from a track coach. So if your kid is named athlete of the year, swimmer of the year, or diver of the year from your local newspaper or whatever, buy a trophy. Put in the trophy case. I want that trophy case littered with swim stuff when they get to the high school. All right? Same thing if your kid was senior of the meet, you know, put it in the trophy case. I want everyone in that high school and everyone that comes to the facility to see what we have. Again, dig into your history. I need to thank Paul Torrio. He was huge in helping me. So some of my passions, obviously family, swimming, history. So I knew Royal Oak had a deep history, and he helped me find all these All-Americans. So what I did is it took me a year. And I went on all these reunion web pages and stuff like that, and people that knew people. So the school district wasn't going to pay for an All-American plaque from an athlete back in the 50s. So I reached out to all the alumni that were on that list, and God love them. I would say 95% of them like, absolutely, here's my money, go do it. Or I know this person has passed away, here's the money to get his plaque on the wall. I'll show you pictures in a moment. All right, display and celebrate. You want your facility to be the epicenter of swimming in your city, where everyone has to come and see that and see all the excellence. And that's swimming, diving, and academics. Oh, I was doing so well. All right, so we do this in our house. You know, I love it. When people walk onto our deck and they have to come through, you're coming through our Valley of All Americans. That way you can see it where you're going. Same thing, what I did. I have an all MVP plaque, most dedicated, most improved. All right, cost the team a few bucks. I hang that up as well. All right, maybe some kid will never be MVP. You're gonna be most dedicated. How are you gonna get your name on that plaque? Team room. I am no Picasso. All right, but our team room is littered with all of this stuff. This is stuff they see every day. Our state meet successes, our championships, and some of our big moments. All right, so I have that all around. I am all filled up. You're going to see over here, I am now going up on the roof, or on the ceiling rather. We're out of space. But I love that. I love going in that tea room where they can see all the people that were there before them and the people setting the expectations. Yeah, we've got a banner for championships and for academics. So that way when people walk in, they go, yeah, this is what we also do. So celebrate, motivate your athletes to leave their mark, all right? Put our NISCA Scholar Awards also in the Scholar Team Awards on the trophy case, and set your program apart from others. Who else does this in your school? Does basketball? No, they don't. So set yourself apart. Post-it notes. I love doing this for league. This is for two purposes, my team and everybody else that's not on my team. All right, I have all of their seat times on Post-it notes. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to swim fast and you're going to go under your time because that's what we do. We work hard all year to do it this way. So when you go ahead, you take your time off the wall. So what happens, you see that everybody from Royal Oak is taking their time off because they're under their seat time, and everybody else is seeing that Royal Oak is all taking off their times. There's no more Post-it notes left. It's that train coming right for you, and it's named Royal Oak. Alumni meet. So we started this a while ago. We had to pause a little bit for COVID. One of my favorite days of the year when we see our alumni. Actually, Eric Talsman in the back gave me a lot of these great ideas. We do our even grad years versus the odd grad years. I wish I would have started this earlier. We changed our events to make them extremely alumni friendly. Divers pick 2 dives that they're not going to hurt themselves on. I love seeing parents back in the stands. When I announce the girls, I say they're the ladies now, but when they stand for me, I say their maiden names and I call them out. I put out our old team shirts, our old stat packs, I put them out. I started an open swim before the start of warm-up for the alumni meet. And it's great to see your old kids bringing their kids to the pool playing and making them love the water. Last year we had 61 alumni show up, which was amazing. I swam with my 2 daughters as well, so it's a great time. So I'm going to take a minute. I'm extremely proud of our local association, and I know we all have associations, but I'm going to say this for the people, obviously the people here, I'm preaching to the choir, but for the people that will be watching this later, join, be involved. All right, find out what your association offers you and your athletes. So basically, find out what your association can do for you. What can you do for your association? What are your talents? Are you great on the computer? Are you great at getting data? What can you do to help us get things better? I'm extremely proud of what we do in Michigan. We have the MISCA Meet Coaches Clinic in September. All right, our team academic all-state, team individual academic awards. All-state certificates, we give out 10 $1,000 scholarships. Swimmer and Diver of the Year awards, MISCA Coach of the Year, our Zone Coach of the Year. We've just started adding regionals. We have diving regionals, and now we wanted to make sure we honor our diving coaches because the other sports that have regionals in the state, they offer regional coaches of the year, so we wanted to incorporate our divers as well, diving coaches, so we started that this year. We've been doing outstanding service awards, MISCA Coach Spotlight. What we've been doing at our coaches clinic, we have people fill out an information sheet about themselves. Their coaching philosophy, their best moment, best quote, how many years, yada, yada. And this is how you win door prizes. So you go ahead, you collect all these sheets, that's how we pick door prizes. Then after that, I get these sheets, and I'll contact these coaches. We'll send out a MISCA Spotlight every 2 weeks. So basically what happens, I will email these people, and hey, can I have a photo of you, please? And so we send it to Dave Z, and what he'll do is make it nice for tweeting out and put on our Facebook page, because that way we're getting more exposure for our coaches. not always the state coaches of the year, but for your other coaches are just working just as hard every day. So I'm very happy with that, getting exposure for our coaches as part of the association. Obviously, our Swimming Hall of Fame, the Matt Mann Award, the Diving Hall of Fame, Bruce Holland Award, membership in the MHSCA, the general liability insurance, and that's a big deal. There's a lot of coaches coaching now that are not employed by the school district. They're employed by a third party. So now liability, how are these coaches protected? So these coaches are protected with the $1 million policy through the MHSCA. We started something in Michigan, a mentor program. Super proud of it. It just started this year. Basically, we asked coaches that wanted to be a mentor to a new coach and those new coaches that would like to have a mentor. And we basically got them together. We try to keep it geographically within the same zones so they could actually meet each other, go out for a pop or what have you. But we would ask the young coaches or the newer coaches, what would you like to learn and improve upon? And then when we go ahead and talk to the veteran coaches, we share that information. I talked about the workout exchange, something about possibly we may revisit this year. But that's a great thing. You're just looking at somebody else does that because I think we're all great thieves, and that's a good thing. I don't have all the answers, and there's a lot of people in this room that know more than me. All right. Next, podcast, the main set. We've been doing that, a lot of success. We've been coaches from different parts of the state. Just having a podcast again. Dave Z has been doing this and doing an amazing job with that. And our Mystic Golf outing, and I will say this, I think it's one of the best things we do. So basically, we go ahead and get about between 45 and 50 golfers that meet up in northern Michigan. And it's not about the golf. It's about making friendships. I know we talked about this morning, it's making that connection. So that person that you're coaching against at the MISCA meet, or this person that may not be in your state division, you're friends with them. All right, so you're making those connections. It's like, hey, what do you do for your sprinters? Mine are flat. And then they go ahead and share. Again, it's one of the best things I believe that we do. So thank you so much for allowing me to share this. Like I said, I'll be honest with you. I have 0 state championships, and I have 0 runner-up. I have friends at that table in the back. I ask them when I ask them how much a state trophy weighs, I ask them because I don't know. All right. But I don't pretend to have all the answers. But I will say this: one thing that I do know I have is we have created a great culture and a great family in Royal Oak, and I'm very proud of everything we have done. So, thank you for your time. Is there any questions? Thank you. I got motivated pretty hard up there. I have to take another blood pressure pill. Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Over the years, people have come to me, and I have won a lot of state championships in my state, not your state.
No, neither have I.
And they want, what you do is so important.
Thank you.
Because you don't have to win a state championship to be so influential on children.
Thank you.
For the kids in swimming. Sometimes when you look at how we measure success, it's very difficult to measure the success of coaches that aren't winning those state championships. Because many times the coaches that are winning their children's success is more important. And I don't know how we can measure that sometimes. But this is something special.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. That brings a lot. Thank you. Anything else? All right. Thank you so much.